So it's officially alert level lockdown, alert level one of the lockdown. And this means that most normal activity can resume with precautions and health guidelines, of course, and it should be followed at all times. It also means that people can travel more, allowing for the tourism industry to get back up again. So joining me on the line right now is Mr. Unaji Sonwabile Henama, who is a tourism lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology, to tell us what alert level one of the lockdown means for the tourism industry. Good morning, Mr. Unati.
Good morning, and good morning to all of the listeners and viewers.
I thank you for joining me. Just give me a second to switch headphones here. All right. Yeah, I mean, many people are excited about alert level one of the lockdown, but obviously the tourism industry has been really affected by it. Just to quickly give us a brief and tell us more about how the tourism industry was affected by the lockdown.
The lockdown had a detrimental impact on the tourism sector. We require warm bodies to come to an establishment. It's unlike other services where you can buy something online. A physical person has to come to experience that. And because people-to-people movement was what was not required during lockdown, it meant that the sector's character made it impossible for us to operate. You see, so now that's why we're very, very welcoming when the regulations were altered, allowing for tourism to fully operate. Because, truth be told, you could not visit home, and that's a very, very important segment of travel, And the opening of borders is also very, very important, because we must remember that we are a people that travel all over the world, and we've got family that stay in even other countries. So the opening of borders.
Mr. Unati, I lost you there. Are you still there? All right, there you are. I just didn't get the last bit because I lost you. I'm not sure what happened with the connection. But anyways, what does alert level one of the lockdown mean for the tourism industry now that the announcement has been made that
It first and foremost, it means country. When you speak tourism, we sometimes must not forget shopping. You find
yes.
all these small towns on the borders, borders of Lesotho, the borders all around the 9 provinces. You find these people that come from Zimbabwe, that come from Mozambique, Swaziland, and come and shop here in South Africa. They're a very, very important economic contributor to many, many South African towns. So the opening of the borders means that we will be attracting people from overseas. And some of these people that come from overseas, also from the African continent, they actually spend a lot of money within the tourism value chain. You also find there are certain segments of the tourism industry that only cater, because we find that they might charge a higher price. So by closing the borders, those establishments could definitely survive. So the opening of borders means that people from overseas can once again come to our country. And let's remember, when mining has been losing jobs for more than 10 years, tourism was growing. When agriculture is shedding jobs, tourism has always been growing. So this is a very, very important economic sector, because it has cushioned South Africa's economy for quite some time.
Now, which borders will be open and which will remain closed?
From the list that I've seen is that all the 18 land-based border posts will be opened. And unfortunately, from an aviation perspective, it's only OR Tambo, King Shaka, and Cape Town International which are allowed to operate, of which I think is quite disappointed that Lansaria is not operating for international flights, because I believe that we as a country must understand that the more airports we have, the easier it's people to arrive within our country. I mean, look at New York. New York will have 2 airports. Look at Paris will have 2 airports. So the more airports you have, the greater transport infrastructure you have, it makes it easy for people to travel to your country.
Mhm. And what do tourists need to know before deciding to enter South Africa?
I think tourists need to know that as a country, we've been able to manage the COVID pandemic far better than a lot of countries. I believe one of the good selling points is that possibly our climate has had a positive impact. So visitors would be definitely attracted to our country. So we've got a good story to tell. So we must tell people, tourists all over the world, South Africa has been able to manage the COVID pandemic. South Africans were responsible in how they conducted themselves so that infections are not high. So therefore, it is we are a safe destination for people to come and consider us for their holiday.
Hmm. All right. Now, I'm sure people have been wondering if it's safe to open the borders to tourists, especially not knowing whether about the coronavirus pandemic in other countries and how they have dealt with it. But South Africa has done a good job in dealing with the virus, and but now, is it safe to open the borders to tourists?
Yes, it is. It is okay to open our borders because there is already community infection in South Africa. So opening
Hmm.
the borders does not pose any additional risk to South Africans. Let's also remember, we actually have, as South Africa, we actually have higher infections than a lot of our neighboring countries. Remember, the majority of countries that had COVID, those countries have got well-connected aviation networks, and a lot
Hmm.
of our neighboring countries do not have that. So it does not necessarily pose any additional risk.
Hmm. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Sonwabile. We're going to leave it there for now. And hopefully, the opening of the borders has got people excited. I can't wait to fix my passport so that I can travel as well. But
Okay,
thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
thank you.
Right, that was Mr. Unati Sonwabile Henama, a lecturer a tourism lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology, telling us about how excited they are for the tourism industry to be back and for alert level 1 of the lockdown to be effective, to be effective as in midnight, as it was midnight yesterday, the 20th. Yeah. All right, and I'm sure you guys are super excited to start traveling once again. And I'm a bit jelly because I still have to sort my passport out. Anyways, it is 11:15. We're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back.